forever. We have traveled land and sea, but as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would wait forever, exalted in the scene. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name, switch up the batteries. If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it. Now in front of your heart, you can't shame me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. Stake out on a mission to find our inner peace, make it everlasting, so nothing's incomplete. It's easy being with you, sacred simplicity. As long as we're together, there's no place I'd rather be. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name, switch up the batteries. If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it. Now in front of your heart, you can't shame me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. Be, 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 be. Yeah, 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 yeah. If you gave me a chance, I would take it. It's a shot in the dark, but I'll make it. Now in front of your heart, you can't shame me. When I am with you, there's no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. No, 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 no place I'd rather be. With you, there's no place I'd rather be. Yeah.
Let's take a look at what is happening this week. Join Reverend Rich for either a lesson in meditation or to join together in consciousness to start your Monday right. On Tuesday, let's spill the tea with Alicia and Rev Rich as we tackle today's problems with a spiritual solution. On Wednesday, we join Rev Rich as we explore the book You Deserve This Shit. Get unstuck, find your path, and become the best version of yourself. Next Sunday, we continue our 4-part talk on a positive path to spiritual living. Finally, we want to thank you for joining us today. Remember to participate in the law of giving and receiving. Continue to support your spiritual center and the work they do, and if you are so called, you can help us continue these services by donating on the About tab on our YouTube channel or visit whitaverencounter.com/spiritual community. Back to Reverend Rich.
Good morning and welcome again to our second of a 4-week talk here at our spiritual community celebration service on Sunday. I'm so grateful for you guys to join us here. Again, as always, if you know anyone who may want to watch this, you can go ahead and share this out now. And always check out the chat, say hello, any questions, any prayer requests, you can put them in there. The chat is monitored while this is going on to say at least hello back and to copy down any requests that we may have. So with that being said, I am Reverend Rich, and as always, I am grateful for being here. We went through some of our announcements. Again, feel free to join us on any of our YouTube goings on during the week, as well as they're on podcast if you happen to be driving and want to listen to it that way, as well as our Wisdom Wednesday. I know one of the books has a very colorful title, but if you are anyone like me who has gone through self-worth issues or just feel like you don't deserve the good in your life, and we're going to be talking about that in our lesson today, so make sure you stay tuned, take notes, and as always, you can post on social media anything that you may have heard that sparked your interest that you may want to share. But the book itself is very exciting. I also want to say thank you for those who sent me comments about last week's service, thanking me and are excited, and also for a great donation that allowed us to buy a new mixer that helped enhance Alicia's voice a little bit, and I'll be using it more as I get to know it more. So we're on a trial base right now. We're working through it, but all in all, most important is the message. So with that being said, let's move into prayer right now. So let's go ahead and close our eyes and center into this moment where we know we are always connected with that oneness in our hearts, that source with God, as we know that principal force in our life from which we can create and express that which is the life of love and peace and joy in that creative sense within ourselves. We come with an open heart and open mind, knowing that what we learn today is not only a gift to ourselves, but a gift to those that we can bless today. We release all of yesterday and all that is to come to know that we want to be present here with each other. And in this oneness field, we share the love and joy and excitement that we share together, even if we aren't in person in this room. But we are in one, not only in this source field, but with each other through technology. And I am truly, truly grateful for the opportunity to give to you. And I am grateful for you to take your time to listen to this, to take the lesson, and to give of not only any gifts, but your time and your love for this place. And since we know that it's already inspiring people, and in turn, you guys are paying it forward and inspiring people, we say it isn't so, we let it be. As we move into our next area and affirm this with an Ashe, so mote be, and Amen.
But I stand
And today's reading is for Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, Forgiving from Within, by Reverend Beatrice E. Galareno Bell. Today, I imagine myself sitting next to Jesus and looking into his eyes. I ask him, Master, how can I forgive you? How can I forgive? After a moment, with a loving smile, he answers me. It's not something you have to do by yourself. You can do it in the way I taught you. Do you remember my prayer? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Those words resonate with force in my heart, reminding me that true and authentic forgiveness can only be achieved by divinity, by the indwelling spirit in each being. That is the forgiving that authentically heals and breaks us free, and that is the forgiveness Jesus teaches us. This time of Lent is a time of reflection that invites us to go within ourselves, and there, in the silence of our soul, commune with the source of all good, the source of life, light, and love. The omnipotent source is always there, ready to transform all the sorrow and suffering into pure love. Jesus has left us a profound and wise teaching when, by his example, he shows us that only God, the dwelling divinity in each of us, can truly forgive. And this is so because the indwelling spirit only perceives the divine in each being, only sees the truth, the life, and the love which are our true nature. We are divine in essence. We are pure spirit in all its potential. Therefore, in the face of life situations that cause us suffering, grief, or guilt, let us allow spirit to do its healing work through us. Let us follow the example of humility, strength, and courage that Jesus demonstrated. Let us accept that to truly forgive, we need divine help, and have the strength and courage to ask the indwelling spirit for it. Regardless of the situation that disturbs us, or the person for whom we feel less than love, let us ask the Christ in us to forgive. If we can remain firm in this attitude, affirming with faith that it is the divinity in us that forgives, even those moments we are overrun by anger, frustration, sorrow, fear, or any emotion a memory invokes in us, we can be assured that forgiveness has already been made deep within our being, and that the peace it brings is reaching our soul.
I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver of abundance I received. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything. I am called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I'm the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We are called to be. Called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you need. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you see. You are called
are called to be. We are called to be the kindness, the broken-hearted free. We are called to be forgiveness where the pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth so all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We are called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be free, called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be free, called to be, we are called to be, yeah, called to be.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our music and our reading for this Sunday. As always, I love Faith Rivera, and Called to Be works right into our talk today. What we're called to be. I mean, I can tell you years ago, I never would have thought that you'd be calling me Rev Rich right now. But here I am. Obviously, I was called to be a reverend and everything else that I do on top of it. And it's a wonderful calling. And you know when you've been called to the right spot because it feels right. Trust me, I've missed inspiring, I've missed talking, I've missed giving lessons, especially now working with Silent Unity. I'll be in Pennsylvania for a lot longer. So, it truly inspired me when people come and say, hey, we want to learn these principles. It tells you that we need it. And that starts to build a consciousness. And that's where we started last week, if you remember. We started with consciousness and what consciousness is embodied by. And today our talk is called The Life Within You Is, fill in the blank. And it is that talk about that feeling inside of us, that inspiration, that divine spark that pushes you to something. But what is that life? Now, many of you who have heard me talk about my history know that I was born into a Catholic family. I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school. I went to Jesuit high school. So I have that even now sometimes ingrained, or as they call it, embedded theology, that sometimes my mind kind of drifts off a new thought and I just have to bring myself back. But if you knew anything about that, when you were growing up in a Catholic school, a lot of times parents will rely on the priests and the nuns to help with discipline. So this story I want to start off with is exactly that. It says the stories of a couple who lived in a small town and had two little boys, ages 8 and 10, who were excessively mischievous. The two were always getting into trouble, and their parents could be assured that if any mischief occurred in their town, those two young sons in some way were involved. The parents were at their wits' end as to what they can do about their son's behavior. The mother had heard of a clergyman in town that had been successful in disciplining children in the past, so she approached him about seeing their son. The clergyman agreed and to speak to the boys and was asked to see them individually. So he started off with the younger of the two, the 8-year-old, and met with him first. The clergyman sat the boy down and very sternly said, "Where is God?" The boy made no response. So the clergyman repeated his question even sterner, "Where is God?" Again, the boy made no attempt to answer, so the clergyman raised his voice even more and shook his finger in the boy's head and said, "Where is God?" At that point, the boy got scared, got up, ran out of the room, ran straight home into his closet. The older brother came down, opened the closet, asked him what was going on, what happened. The younger boy replied, "We are in big trouble this time because God is missing and they think we had something to do with it." So, telling that story, we know that when we talk about God and we talk about this good within ourselves, it isn't missing. We talk about any time we feel separation, it's really us shutting ourselves off because we're never disconnected. We talk about God being the source, substance through that works in and through everything. God, the power in and that is. And God as creation, as the creation of all that is. And as that is always in our presence. When we start meditation, when we go into prayer, we always remind ourselves that this presence, this energy that flows in and through us, no matter what name it takes on, is always present. We believe that the life within us is the life of God, and the life is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. We believe that the mind within us is the mind of God, and this mind is the governing principle of all lives. And I know you've heard this before. And we believe that the power within us is the power of God, and that power is our divine authority to create. It was Eric Butterworth who talked about our life being, we are the potters of our lives, and the source is our clay, and we create from there. So when we hear these words, it sounds great. And we may repeat it in different versions of it. We can, like I said, taking God as, whatever the name is, we can fill that in as all powerful, all muting, all beauty, all life, all of it is the same. Michael Bernard Beckwith says that he named it love beauty when he first encountered it within himself. So let's just repeat those words to ourselves. We believe that the life within us is the life of God, and the life is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. We believe that the mind within us is the mind of God, and this mind is the governing principle of our lives. And we believe that the power within us is the power of God, and this power is our divine authority to create. When we hear those words, we love the way it sounds. When we regurgitate those words, pretty much, when we throw it out there, every time somebody says something to us or some challenge comes up, it sounds great. But it isn't enough. We must actually embody those words. We have to actually make it a part of ourselves. When we talk about embodying words, it means to fully and completely integrate them into our consciousness. And there we go. That's what we talked about last week, consciousness. So what did we say that consciousness was? It was the totality of our beingness that we bring to the table of our lives. And we say that that totality was what? It was made up of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, values, words, actions, and reactions. So when we embody those words, when we embody those belief statements, we are talking about integrating them into our thoughts. Every thought we have, every feeling we have, every belief we have, every value we have, every attitude we have, every word we speak, and most important, every action and reaction we take needs to come from a place or from a presence that we call God. We also can call it good. Now back to where we're at. So when we embody these words, we remember them in our hearts. We remember them and integrate them. So let's go ahead and start to begin to integrate them with ourselves here. So the life within me is the life of God, and this life, my life, is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. Go ahead and repeat that with me. The life within me is the life of God, and this life, my life, is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. But a lot of times when we hear these words, rather than embody them, and I'm kind of going to change a little bit of the example that was given to me. And it feels more like, if you remember those rocks that people hide their keys in, and now they make the one that looks like dog poop. So we would see that in the garden, look at it, kind of kick it away because we're not going to touch it. We may see it, And we would push it away because it doesn't mean anything to us, because it looks like somebody let their animal in the yard, let their animal into our front yard. We don't know what it is. But the problem is that had we actually looked at it, picked it up, and opened it, is the key to embodying who we are. We look at it, we forget that there's a jewel inside, there's a key inside, that the gifts, the life of God are all there inside, and all we had to do was unlock them. So we tend to treat this knowledge just like that. We push it away rather than embody them. These words help unlock them, so let's do it again. So I want you to repeat with me. The life within me is the life of God. And this life, my life, is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. Let's do that one more time. The life within me is the life of God, and this life, my life, is the truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. So let's take a moment just to pause, and I want you to remember them. And I'm going to read it one more time. You don't have to repeat, but I want you to ask yourself, how does it feel within you? And I want you to embody it a bit inside of you. How does it feel? Then I'm going to ask you some questions to look at. So as I read it, the life within me is the life of God. And this life, my life, is truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. How does that feel inside of you? Who and how would you be if you embodied these words of truth? Would you think ill thoughts about yourself anymore? Would you put yourself down anymore? Would you think that there is something inherently wrong or bad about you? Would you still think you don't deserve a life of peace, happiness, and fulfillment? I don't think so. You would recognize that divinity, that beauty within yourself, and you'd begin to live a life of openness. Remember, I shared with you that one of my challenges was to remain open to receive. And when I shut myself down, and there's only one voice coming in, and that's usually the negative voice, I stop being who I am, and I don't give my permission to live large. So when you say, I am truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness, repeat that with me. I am truth, beauty, harmony, and wholeness. We begin to establish a thought pattern that allows us to be open to being truly who we are. So let's talk about the next statement. The mind within me is the mind of God, and this mind, my mind, is the governing principle of my life. Once again, the mind within me is the mind of God, and this mind, my mind, is the governing principle of my life. And let those words sink in a bit. And ask yourself, what does that mean to you? Divine mind, my mind. And if you embody those words, who and how would you be? Not sure? Well, let's listen to Charles Fillmore from Talks in Truth, who says, there is written within every man such a place, the secret place of the Most High. When man finds this place and accepts its privileges as his, he is to let into the realm of pure metaphysics, where mind alone, with all its transcendent power, holds free, untrammeled sway. This is the point in every man where God joins hands with him and where the word of God finds entrance into his consciousness. It is here that the man understands what it is to be inspired by spirit, to say and do things extraordinary in the sight of the world. I always want you to remember the words that changed my life was that biblical verse that I never heard in my entire life during Christian teachings, which is when Jesus turned to his apostles and says, you can do all that I can do and greater works. And I paraphrase there a little bit. But the point was that our master teacher was teaching us something and saying, I can give you this and you can go out and do what I've done and even better. So if you believe these words, would you be able to trust yourself? Or wouldn't you be? Would you be someone who knew that your dreams, hopes, and desires are readily available to you? Would you be the person who knew that no matter what issues you may be facing, there is a mind bigger than that? Mary Morrissey often says, don't bring your big problem to God, rather bring your big God to your problem. This is when we talk about that intuition, that divine mind within ourselves, that there is no problem, that a solution's not already there. You know, for you guys who tap into our Tea Time Truth Talks, that's basically the place I come from. Sometimes my daughter gives me a quick question that she's going to ask me, but I don't know what to answer until it actually happens, and I let my divine mind guide me. Hopefully I haven't been wrong yet. But from the feedback we've gotten, I have it, and I'm truly grateful for these principles. But ask yourself again, who would you be if you embodied these ideas? And how about starting to be that person now? And now let's embody the final thoughts. The power within me is the power of God, and this power is my divine authority to create. So we talk about that. This source, we are the creators. We can express through us. When we tap into that power of goodness, that power of God that is within us, that ultimate divinity coming from a consciousness. Last week's lesson, coming and embodying these beliefs of the life that's within me, we can create. Again, Charles Fillmore, co-creator of Unity, says from his book, Atom Smashing Power of the Mind, the idea of God are potential forces waiting to be set into motion through proper formative vehicles. The thinking faculty in man is such a vehicle that is thought that his visible universe has existence. Man does not create anything if by this term is meant the producing of something from nothing. But he does make the formless up into form, and rather it is through his consciousness, cooperation, that one mind forms its universe. Hence the importance of man's willing cooperation with God in every thought, because unless he is very wise in his thinking, he may be sending forth malformations that will cause both himself and the universe trouble. Yes, it's Fillmore. Yes, I know it's hard to understand sometimes. But basically what he's saying is when we trust in that power within, let's follow divine intuition. We know that everything starts as a thought, whether it's the chair, this podium that I'm at right now, the paper that my notes are on, the computer, the camera that's recording this. All of that started off as an idea. And it's a divine idea that comes to us and says we need, and we put it into action, and action becomes what we see. But when we think from the ego perspective, we think that we are separated from that. When we come from a place that isn't in the goodness of ourselves, then that's where the malformation comes on. So I always say, be careful of your consciousness, because we can express both in what we would label good and what we would label bad based on what our consciousness is doing at the moment. So he always reminds us of what the master teacher said in Luke chapter 4 when he was led into the wilderness. So we know, and I'm going to use the more traditional term, we know that he was in 40 days and he was being tempted by the devil. So we know that 40 days just means until the time it takes for transformation. It is the number of transformation. It is the number of the time it takes for us to transform. So scripture says he didn't eat during this time and he was hungry. So the devil said to him, if you really are who you say you are, the Son of God, well, then just command the stone turn to bread. That should be a piece of cake for you. Then the devil took him up into the high mountains and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a single moment of time and said, I will give you power over all of this if you will worship me. And he brought Jesus to Jerusalem and sent him to the pinnacles of the temple and said to him again, if you are to say who you are, then get yourself down from here. And to these temptations, Jesus said, get thee behind me, Satan. And what is the devil? Because we absolutely don't believe that there is a being, an entity that is the devil. So Fillmore, in his revealing word, says the devil is a state of consciousness adverse to the divine good. Excuse me. There is no personal devil. God is the one omnipresent principle of the universe, and there is no room for any principle of evil, personified or otherwise. The devils we encounter are fear, anger, jealousy, and other similar negative traits that they are in ourselves. Christ gives us the power to cast out these devils, thereby cleansing our consciousness. I will tell you a movie I love. It's called War Room, and it talks about the power of prayer. Now, again, traditional prayer, affirmative prayer as we do, may seem different, but there's a scene where she takes us, and her words are casting the devil out of her house. But if you actually take what I just said from the revealing word of Charles Fillmore and watch that exact same scene, you'll understand what she's doing. She's literally speaking herself into the affirmative. She's affirming within herself her divinity and what she's commanded to do. Traditional language or otherwise, we're all saying exactly the same thing. Check it out if you have a chance, but it's a great movie. So we know that our negative thoughts that will not create that which we desire to have in our lives. So let's just say, get thee behind me, Satan. We know that our thoughts, just like Michael Bernard Beckwith says, worry is nothing more than expressing into your life what you didn't want in the first place. So we want to say to ourselves, to that fear thought, that action thought, those thoughts that do not serve us, to get ye behind me so I can move forward and I can be the best I can be. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and then went out and Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and there went out a fame of him through all the regions round about. So we know that in Luke 14 is where he really starts his ministry, because he came into himself. I love the story of the prodigal son, and as long as that story is, the one line is always when he came unto himself. And this is what we're asking you to do. Last week was consciousness. This week is the life within us. We're helping you get to that point where you can come to yourself and find that divine gift within you. And like our master teacher, when we realize the power behind our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attributes, values, words, actions, and reactions, so will our lives take off. And we will be the person we came here to be. Share the gifts we came here to share, and live the life of peace, fulfillment, happiness that we were meant to live. So let's go ahead one more time and embody those truths. The life within us is the life of God. The mind within us is the mind of God. And the power within us is the power of God, that is our divine authority to create our lives. And what a wonderful thing that is. And when we realize that, when I ask you to leave this service today and bless others, and you've picked up this awareness of who you truly are, not only do you give that gift to other people, but you give them permission to seek their own consciousness, their own divinity within, and share it with the world. And imagine if everyone in this world right now was living that life. So let's bring these ideas into meditation now. Let us begin by taking it in. And even though our hearts may be challenged right now, maybe some things I've said, maybe, hitting that ego part of you, that individualized expression that has been built by the sense of ourselves, that outer senses of what we are supposed to be. And we talk about how it should be, but we know we shouldn't be shooting on ourselves. We trust in this power within us, that life within us, that good life within us, that mind, that divine mind, that good mind within us, that power that gives us authority to create within us. And we know it's all good, and we know it's all God. And when we put it into practice, we create a life that it not only embodies us and allows us to live the greatest expression of our life there is, but begins to produce a light from us that allows others to see it. And if we can do that for even one person today, then that person begins their light. And where two or more are gathered, we create a bigger light. And we continue to share that light and expression. And as we breathe into this meditation, we begin to see that light begin to share out. And we cover the world with that light as it shines bright, as we hope that we know in this oneness. As I say, I am speaking to the higher senses of our oneness. And I'm speaking to all the higher selves as we affirm this love, this harmony, this peace, this joy that goes through us in the hopes that they themselves become aware of it and act from it and even react from it as we know it embodies their consciousness. And we see it already happening. Let's go ahead and affirm this with saying that we see it and we so it is and we let it be. And we affirm it with an amen, ashe, so mote be. And we stamp it with love and send it on its way. And I thank you again for being here. And thank you for allowing me this lesson with you. And as we move and we enjoy our next song.
Stand in the light and be seen as we are. Didn't I tell you I hear what you say? Never look back as you're walking away. Carry the music, the memories, and keep them inside you. Laugh every day.
hope you enjoyed that song, Stand in the Light. And remember, just like the song Called to Be, we want you to stand in the light as you understand that the life within us is that good life, that God life that flows in and through us. And it gives us permission to express ourselves as the best beings we can be. We talked about consciousness last week. We showed how consciousness integrates itself with knowing what's inside of us. And next week we come back with our next part of the talk. So I definitely invite you to be here next week. And what I want you to do now, whether you're giving to your spiritual community in a physical form or giving to us in a physical form, or you're giving just love and sharing, that's okay. I want you to take that in your hand as if you have it there. Hold it close to your heart. And as always, we say divine love through us, as us, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Amen. And I know that changed a little bit, but I did learn over time, see the things you learn when you're not doing these things, is that it's easy to give and receive, but we need to get it out there and circulate. If energy is not moving, energy state becomes stagnant. So we want to make sure that as we're giving and we are open to receive, that we continue to give and we are continuously open to receive. I've always shared with you, my problem was always being open to receive. And when I realized that I was stagnating other people's prosperity, I had to learn to be open to receive, and I've been blessed in many ways that I'm able to share. So with that being said, again, next week, Sunday, join us for our Monday meditation, our Tea Time Truth Talk, or our Wisdom Wednesday. And again, last week we talked about the awareness in the book study. This week we're going to be tackling that comfort zone where we kind of want to stay safe and move forward. Trust me, the book is really worth getting. So again, I love you. No, nothing you can do about it. And I bid you namaste as the big, beautiful divinity in me sees that big and beautiful divinity in you. And again, I thank you for sharing your Sunday with me. Go forth, take the lesson, put it into action, and bless somebody with it. See you next time.